Have you ever looked at the Sri Chakra and wondered why it is regarded with such reverence? Is it merely sacred geometry, a powerful spiritual symbol, or is it something far more profound? Thousands of years ago, great sages contemplated and revealed an extraordinary geometry composed of triangles, lotuses, and sacred enclosures. To some, it is a powerful spiritual symbol. To others, it is a very form of the Divine Mother. But according to the traditional texts such as the Bhavanopanishad, the Sri Chakra is something even more remarkable. It is not merely viewed as a map of the universe. It is also contemplated as a symbolic map of the journey from ordinary human experience to pure consciousness itself. The sages were not merely drawing the cosmos, they were mapping the journey within. Today, let us explore the structure of the Sri Chakra, understand its 9 sacred enclosures known as the Navavaranas, and discover why this extraordinary symbol has fascinated seekers for centuries. Before understanding the journey, let us first understand the map. At the heart of the Sri Chakra are 9 interlocking triangles. 4 upward pointing triangles traditionally symbolize Shiva, and 5 downward pointing triangles symbolize Shakti. The union of these triangles creates 43 smaller triangles, symbolically representing the entire manifestation of creation. Surrounding these triangles are lotus circles and sacred enclosures, all culminating in the Bindu, the central point. The Sri Chakra is also represented in the 3 dimensions as the Sri Meru, just as Mount Meru is regarded as the cosmic axis. The human spine is traditionally called Merudanda, the axis of the human body. Traditional interpretations therefore see a profound connection between the universe, the Sri Meru, and the human being. Imagine entering a great temple. First, you pass through the outer walls, then through the successive halls. Finally, you arrive before the deity in the innermost sanctum sanctorum, or the Garbhagriha. The Sri Chakra represents a similar journey, but this temple is not built of stone. This temple is your own consciousness. Each enclosure has its own name, preceding deities, yoginis, mudras, and spiritual significance. Today, we will focus on the understanding of the overall journey they represent. Each enclosure invites us to move one step deeper from ordinary experience towards the deepest reality within ourselves. First, we begin the journey with the Bhupura, the outermost square enclosure. Its traditional name is Trailokya Mohana Chakra, the enchanter of the 3 worlds. According to the Bhavanopanishad, this outermost enclosure contains many of the experiences that shape human life: love, compassion, wonder, heroism, humor, fear, disgust, wrath, peace. The text further describes how human beings become bound through tendencies such as desire, greed, delusion, pride, jealousy, merit, and demerit. The text also associates this enclosure with various siddhis such as Anima Siddhi, Lagima Siddhi, Mahima Siddhi, and so on, along with the centers of the body and mudra shaktis starting from Sarva Samkshobhini mudra concluding at Sarva Trikanda mudra, collectively known as Dashamaha mudras. So, the spiritual journey begins exactly where we are, as ordinary human beings navigating life. Each of these Avaranas contain its own presiding deities, yoginis, Chakreshwari or ruling deity of Chakra, the Devatas present, and deeper spiritual significance. To keep this video simple and accessible, we are focusing on the overall journey represented by the Sri Chakra. But if you'd like a detailed exploration of each Avarana and its hidden symbolism, let me know in the comments. Now, having explored the outer world of emotions and experiences, the journey now moves inward. The next enclosure is the Shodashadala, the 16-petaled lotus. Its traditional name is Sarvasa Paripuraka Chakra, the fulfiller of all aspirations. The Bhavanopanishad describes these 16 petals as 16 powers of attraction. The Shaktis of this enclosure begin with Kamakarshini and culminate with Sharirakarshini, associating these 16 powers with the 5 elements, that is earth, water, fire, air and ether, and the 10 senses and the ever-changing mind. Everything we experience enters through these gateways. Beyond the world of sensory experience lies the Ashtadhala, the 8-petal lotus, known as the Samkshobhana Chakra. The deities of this enclosure begin with Ananga Kusuma and culminate with Ananga Malini. The Bhavanopanishad associates these 8 petals with 8 faculties of human action: speaking, taking, going, excreting, enjoying, rejecting, accepting, and ignoring. Experience now becomes action. But action alone does not sustain life. The 4th enclosure is the Chaturdasha Kona, the Sarva Saubhagyadayaka Chakra, the bestower of auspiciousness, starting from Sarva Samkshobhini, concluding at Sarva Dvandvakshayankari. The Bhavanopanishad associates these 14 triangles with 14 nadis or subtle channels of energy. These include Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, along with 11 other nadis described in the Tantric tradition. This reminds us that we are not merely physical beings, we have these subtle energies within us. The 5th enclosure is the Bahirdashara, known as Sarvarthasadhaka Chakra, the accomplisher of all purposes, starting from Sarvasiddhiprada till Sarva Saubhagyadayini. The Bhavanopanishad associates this enclosure with 10 vital breaths, Pancha Pranas and Upapranas, that is the 5 major vital forces: Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, and 5 subsidiary forces: Naga, Kurma, Krukara, Devadatta, and Dhananjaya. These subtle energies sustain every moment of life. Next, we move deeper and we arrive at the Antardashara, known as the Sarvarakshakara Chakra, the giver of protection, starting from Sarvagnya, concluding at Sarvesiddhiprada. The Bhavanopanishad explains that these same vital forces act upon the digestive fire or Jataragni and transform food into life itself. Even the simple act of nourishment becomes part of a sacred process. The 7th enclosure is the Ashtakona, known as Sarvarogahara Chakra, the remover of disease, associated with the 8 Vagdevis, starting from Vasini Devi and concluding at Kaulini Devi. The Bhavanopanishad associates this with heat and cold, pleasure and pain, desire and the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the forces that shape our inner experience of life. As we move deeper into the Sri Chakra, the symbolism becomes increasingly subtle. The Bhavanopanishad now begins to reinterpret familiar spiritual symbols as inner realities. The 5 tanmatras, sound, touch, form, taste and smell, are described as the 5 flower arrows or panchabanas of Divine Mother. The mind becomes the sugarcane burr or ikshukodanda. The love becomes the noose. The hatred becomes the elephant goad or ankusha. At this stage, the focus is no longer on external forms. The symbolism itself is turned inward. What once appeared as sacred imagery is now understood as forces operating within human experience and consciousness. The journey continues from the visible towards the invisible, from the symbolic towards the essential. The next enclosure is the sacred innermost triangle known as the Sarvasiddhiprada Chakra, the bestower of all siddhis or attainments. The Bhavanopanishad associates its 3 corners with Avyakta, Mahat and Ahamkara, that is the unmanifest, cosmic intelligence and the principle of individuality. Traditional worship also associates this sacred triangle with Mahakameshwari, Mahavajreshwari and Mahabhagamalini, representing Icha, Jnana and Kriya Shaktis. We now stand at the final threshold before the Bindu. At the center of everything lies the Bindu, the Sarvanandamaya Chakra, the fullness of all bliss. This is the abode of the Supreme Divine Mother, Lalitha Parabhattarika, the Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupini, the inseparable union of Shiva and Shakti. Here, all forms disappear, all distinctions dissolve. The Bhavanopanishad declares that the pure consciousness is Kameshwara, while one's own soul full of bliss is Lalitha herself. The journey that began with emotions, senses, and experience culminates in the pure awareness and bliss. Interestingly, this tradition from the outermost enclosure to the innermost Bindu is not merely philosophical. It is also reflected in the traditional forms of worship. In Navavarana Sri Chakra Puja, the devotee symbolically journeys through each enclosure of Sri Chakra, beginning from the outermost Bhupura. The deities associated with each enclosure are worshipped one after another, gradually moving inward. At every stage, the presiding deity of that enclosure is honored before proceeding towards the next inner enclosure. As the worship approaches the innermost regions of the Sri Chakra, even the Ayudha Shaktis, the Pushpabana, Ikshugodanda, Pasha and Ankusha are worshipped before entering the central innermost triangle itself. The worship then proceeds through the Trikona and finally culminates in the Bindu, the supreme center of the Sri Chakra. Thus, the same journey described philosophically by the Bhavanopanishad is also enacted ritually in Navavarana worship. The movement from the outermost enclosure to the innermost center is not merely geometric progression. It is the sacred journey that is contemplated, meditated upon, and ritually enacted. Thus, the Bhavanopanishad establishes an extraordinary identity between the human being and the Sri Chakra, part by part, layer by layer. The journey proceeds from the outermost experiences of life, through the senses, actions, energies, pranas, mind, and individuality, until it finally reaches the innermost self. Seen in this way, the Sri Chakra is much more than sacred geometry. It's a mirror reflecting our emotions, senses, actions, energies, mind, and consciousness. It reminds us that the journey we seek in the outer world ultimately leads inward, from the outermost enclosures of experience to the innermost Bindu of bliss. And perhaps that is why generations of seekers revered this extraordinary symbol not merely as the diagram of the universe, but as a guide pointing towards the divine presence already shining within us. And yet, what we explored today is only the beginning. Many of the devatas, symbols, and spiritual concepts associated with the Sri Chakra are also beautifully woven into the sacred narrative of Sri Lalithopakhyanā, the story behind Lalita Sahasranama. If you'd like to understand the story of Lalita Devi and how it helps illuminate many names of the Lalita Sahasranama, you may explore our Lalithopakhyanā playlist linked below. We have also shared a guided contemplative meditation inspired by the Lalita Sahasranama along with free downloadable audio resource through our WhatsApp channel for those who wish to continue their journey of reflection and practice. Now let's return back to the Sri Chakra itself. Each Avarana has its own yoginis, presiding devatas, along with symbolic powers and mudras. Entire traditions of contemplation, worship and meditation exist around these sacred enclosures. If you'd like a deeper exploration of each Avarana and symbolic significance, let me know in the comments. Before we conclude, I would like to offer my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has stayed until this point in the video. The Sri Chakra is an incredibly profound and vast subject. One of the biggest challenges in creating this video was finding a way to simplify these traditional concepts without losing their depth and meaning. Considerable effort went into studying this source text, organizing the ideas in a meaningful way, and creating simple visuals to make these concepts easier to understand. So, if you've watched till here, thank you. It tells me that you're not merely curious, but genuinely interested in understanding these sacred teachings. If you found this video helpful, I would humbly request you to support it with a like and consider sharing it with the fellow seekers. May the Divine Mother guide each of us from the outermost enclosure towards the blissful Bindu within. Sri Matre Namaha.